Okay, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us here for this post-match press conference following New Zealand versus Sri Lanka. We're joined by Sri Lanka captain Dasun Shanaka, who's going to be taking questions from the room here and also questions that are posted online via Zoom. Without further ado, we'll get started with some questions in the room. Can I please see a show of hands for those with questions? Sadi?
Listen, the team was quite confident coming into this match. I mean, analyzing what actually went wrong for you in this game, today's game.
I think we started really well. The drop catches. So I think that's the game changer in this game. So Glenn Phillips went to score 100, brilliant 100. So I think it was the turning point in this game.
But despite that, I mean, chasing about 160, probably.
I think we could have kept them to like score like 130, 40 if we got that wicket. So yet again, we didn't bat well in the upfront. So we know that in these wickets, so it's tough. The first 2 overs are going to be the toughest overs. So we were 3 down after 2 overs. So it never going to help us when we chasing 160.
How tough were the batting conditions out there? Obviously, no one was really able to get a really big score on besides Glenn Phillips. And I guess as a result, how good was Glenn Phillips's innings considering those conditions?
Yeah, it was outstanding in a tough wicket. So he took a while to get settled in, and then he got his time, and there was a lot of time to hit to the ball. I think he gave his time, so that's where any of the other batsmen were not good at.
Have you watched many of the other matches here at Sydney so far? Because it looked like bowling slow was a real key tactic for you early on.
Yeah, we never expected to be slow like this wicket. So we expected to be a better wicket than this, but still, it happens. It might turn in some time with the conditions, changing of conditions. So yeah, it was not the best wicket today, but still, yeah, good wicket to play cricket.
And just the last one, you mentioned some of those fielding mistakes and dropped catches. What's the key to making sure they don't happen again in the next game?
No one wants to drop catches when we play international cricket. So no, we don't need to point out anyone. And we don't want to blame anyone. What we need to do is to regroup in the next game and come sharp in the next 2 games, actually.
Dasun, you've had 6 injuries so far in the tournament. How tough is it to lose some of your top players and then to bring in replacements from Colombo, and even they break down? As captain, how tough has it been for you?
Yet again, it's uncontrollable, so we can't expect players to be fit, and there might be times that more and more players will get injured. So first we have to check and see why what's the reason behind that the players getting injured. So I don't have the control. Only the controllable thing is when the players come to the field, so I can get the maximum out of them. So apart from that, it's a concern, but I don't consider much on that.
Do you still believe that you got a chance to make it to the semi-finals?
Yeah, obviously, yes. So next 2 games, if we can get through those 2 games, and especially the run rates with a good run rate, I think we got a better chance to make it to the semis.
Dasun, just to follow on from what Rex was saying there, at times throughout this whole year, really, there have been moments where you've had big defeats and people have perhaps thought, can you bounce back from that? And you have done. You've obviously won the Asia Cup not too long ago. Does that give you confidence that you can still progress in this tournament, that you have a good performance even after a defeat like this one?
Yeah, we have bounced back in the past. So especially this young team, so they have gone through a lot of hard times. So I think we still can bounce back from this situation and can manage to get to the semis.
And just on the start of your run chase, when you lost a lot of early wickets to Trent Boult and Tim Southee, was there anything you could have done differently as a batting unit at that point, just to try and give yourselves a foundation for that target?
Yeah, it's always about playing straight with the moving ball. So we were not good at in this game. So next game, we are looking forward to do well.
දසුන් අපි දැක්කා පැතුම් නිශංකගේ ඒ උඩ පන්දුව ගිලිහීමත් එක්ක මුළු කණ්ඩායමම නිකන් කඩා වැටුණු ස්වරූපයක් දැක්කා මේ ඒ වගේ වෙලාවක ගොඩ ගන්න හැකියාවක් තිබුණේ නැත්නම් නැත්නම් ඒක සෑහෙන මානසික බලපෑමක් කරාද ඒ තවත් උඩ පන්දුවකට වැඩිය.
මෙහෙමයි පැතුම් ගත්තාම දක්ෂ පන්දු රකින්නෙක් ඉතින් ඔහු මං හිතන්නේ නැහැ මීට කලින් උඩ පන්දුවක් අතහැරලා තියෙනවා කියලා. ඉතින් මම වනිදු පොඩ්ඩක් මොකද පහුගිය තරඟේ හොඳින් පන්දු යවන්න හැකි වෙච්ච හින්දා යාට පොඩි මේකක් තිබ්බ අප්සෙට් එකක්. මම හිතන්නේ අනිත් ප්ලේයර්ස්ලට ඒක එච්චර මේ වුණා කියලා. මොකද වැදගත් වෙන්නේ එතනින් එහාට හොඳ මැච් එකක් සෙල්ලම් කරන එක. ඉතින් හැමෝටම වුණා උනේ කඩු දවාගෙන තරඟයට අවතීර්ණ වෙන්න වාසනාවකට. ඉතින් ඊට එහා අපිට ඕන දේ කරගන්න අමාරු වුණා.
නවසීලන්ත කණ්ඩායමේ පවර් ප්ලේ එක ඉවර වෙනකොට ලකුණු 26ට විකට් 3ක් වගේ ප්‍රමාණයක් හිටියේ. එතකොට අපෙක් මුලින් විකට් සොයන්න නමුත් ඇයි අපිට බැරි වුණේ ඒ විදිහට කියන්නේ මේ කණ්ඩායමේ හැකියාවේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්ද නැත්නම් මේ මානසිකත්වයේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්ද තියෙන්නේ?
මම හිතන්නේ හැකියාවවත් මානසිකත්වයක් ප්‍රශ්නයක් නෙමෙයි. එදා දවසේ ක්‍රීඩා කරන විදිය. මොකද ඇති වෙන්න මේ සිටුේෂන් වල සෙල්ලම් කරලා තියෙනවා. මම හිතන්නේ විකට් 4ක් ගියාමත් චාමිකයි බානුකයි සෙල්ලම් කරපු එකත් හොඳට රන්ස් බෝඩ් එකේ අරගුණා. මම හිතන්නේ චාමිකා වාසනාවන්ත වෙලා විදියට දැවි ගියා බවුන්ඩරි ලයින් එකේදී. ඊට පස්සේ මම හිතන්නේ බානුකයි මා එතන පාර්ට්නර්ෂිප් එකක් දැම්මා. ඉතින් අපි දෙන්නට ඕනුනේ ඕවර් 15ක් විතර එනකන් ගහන්න. ඉතින් බානුකගෙන් පස්සේ වනිදු ඉන්නේ. ඉතින් බානුකගේ දැවියාමත් එක්ක මම හිතන්නේ අපිට තිබ්බ අවස්ථා ගොඩක් අඩු වුණා තරඟේ. නමුත් මම ඒකාන්තයක රැඳී හිටියා. ඉතින් ආසනාවන්ත විදිහට ක්‍රීඩකයන් දෙකේ දැවියාම පරාජයට හේතු වුණා.
Okay, I don't think there are any more questions from in the floor, so we'll go to Zoom and Amitava, please, your question. One question each, please.
Hi, Dasun. This is Amitabh from Preview India. I was talking about your batting performances in this World Cup so far. Not only in today's match, also in the Namibia match you lost in the earlier stage due to batting. So, is batting a bigger problem for you than bowling at the moment?
See, there's nothing to be a problem when we play international cricket. It happens, it's just a one game. Yeah, Namibia game, it was a bad game for us, but after that we played good cricket in the tournament. So today's the worst day with batting. I think it was the worst display with batting. So what is important is to regroup as a batting unit and do well in the next two games.
Thank you.
Okay, next question. Umesh, please. Again, one question each, please, guys. Umesh? No. Okay, Wahid?
Right. Shankar, this is Wahid from Lahore, Pakistan. First of all, very hard luck for that match. If we talk about the Asia Cup, Sri Lankan start was not good, but at the end, Sri Lanka won the tournament. What do you think? Still, Sri Lankan cricket fans have a hope in the rest of the tournament? Thank you.
Yeah, see, as I mentioned before, so we have gone through a lot of tough times. So I think we can still bounce back from this point.
Okay, great. I think that concludes this evening's press conference. Thanks very much, Dasan, for your time.
Thank you. Thanks.
There's only P. Against what did we? Okay, quiet.
All right, guys, thanks very much for joining us again for this post-match press conference following New Zealand versus Sri Lanka. We're joined by player of the match, Glenn Phillips, who will be taking questions from the room here in the SCG and also online via Zoom. Can I please see a show of hands, please? Questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Glenn, congratulations. How does that rank among your best knocks for New Zealand?
I think it's probably going to be at the top. I do have one other 100 and that was pretty special as well, but to be able to do it on a World Cup stage just adds a little bit more zhuzh to it, which is kind of cool. And to be able to have a World Cup win and from a sticky situation is actually the most satisfying part. You know, the boys all did their roles, everyone came together. You know, it's not necessarily about one specific performance. It was actually an overall team effort and the communication that me and Daryl had, the way that the bowlers bowled up front, it was all crucial to the win today.
You went off during the second innings with what seemed to be cramp. Is that all okay? Or?
Yeah. No, unfortunately, the heat and the run in between the wickets, and you know, I don't think we hit a boundary for ages. It felt like forever in the middle at one stage, and we just kept trying to run as much as possible, and I think that eventually got to me by the fielding innings. I try to get out there. I love to be out there with the boys, and unfortunately, the cramp got the better of me today.
What were those conversations with Daryl like just after the power play? Did you have a final target in mind? Were you like, let's just get to 10 overs and reassess? What were you guys talking about?
We didn't even talk targets, actually. With Daryl, it's very much about intent and about being positive. And for us, it wasn't necessarily about hitting boundaries, 4s and 6s, because the pitch may not necessarily have required that. But for us, it was the intent between the running between the wickets that we wanted to show that we had a bit of presence, especially with Sri Lanka on top at that stage. And I mean, the way Daryl's mind works, he doesn't think anything's out of reach. You know, that guy is unbelievable. You know, he believes he's born for situations that require tough decisions and tough processes. And to have him out there with me in the middle is, you know, it's pretty hard to describe when you're batting with someone like him. But the momentum and the presence that he brings can switch an innings so quickly.
Just on your running between the wickets as well. I know it's a feature of how you play, but that sprinter start you're having towards the back end, is that a new thing? Have you done that? Have you done that before? Is that something you've worked on? Is it a tactic to try, or is it just to spur the moment?
That was very much spur of the moment. I actually had my 3-point start wrong, which my best mate's going to probably give me a little bit of stick for later on. It's supposed to be the other arm in the other leg, but I guess the position was to be able to see the bowler and take off as quick as possible. And from a sprinter's start, when you're trying not to be out of the crease as much as possible, you know, there's been a lot going around about mancads and leaving the crease. And at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to make sure that I'm in the crease and leave at the right time. And if the bowler is doing his job, then he has the right to be able to take the bails off. So for me to be able to get into that position as quick as possible, it just made sense.
Hey Glenn, what were the conditions like out there to bat? It just looked like very early on the new ball was doing a fair bit. There was some inconsistent bouts on the pitch, and I guess how did you find it as your innings went on?
I think early on, Kane probably got the worst of it in terms of the swing and the bounce. And I was lucky enough that I only faced pace in the 5th over, and by that time I felt the ball had probably stopped swinging, which was, luck. There was probably a lot of luck that played into things today, but the way the Sri Lankan bowlers bowled with their back of their hand slow balls, those were a little bit invariable. Some would pop off aggressively and some would stay a little bit low, which made things quite tough. So hence the reason the running between the wickets became so crucial, because whether we mishit it or not, we were trying to put the fielders under as much pressure as possible.
You mentioned luck. What was going through your mind when you hit that catch down the throat of long off?
I mean, I still feel like it was the right choice and the right option, but with how Hasaranga bowls, the lowness of his bounce, the wrong one as well, it's a pretty tough option to be able to get it as wide as I wanted to get it. I hit it pretty nicely, but unfortunately it just wasn't wide enough. And at the end of the day, luck definitely does play a lot in this game. And today I was on the right end of the luck.
Just finally, you've had some great memories here in Sydney, obviously Test debut, that catch last weekend. You must be enjoying playing here at the moment.
Oh, it's a fantastic ground. The crowd were absolutely phenomenal today. The Sri Lankan and the New Zealand crowd showed in good numbers, very good numbers. I think it was 15,000 or so, which was fantastic. There was great noise. It's a great atmosphere. The pitches were prepared beautifully. It's a pretty great place to play cricket.
Hello, Glenn. Very well played. What do you value more in the way you play? Power hitting or innovation?
I'm probably going to have to say power hitting, but I'm always trying to come up with different ways to make a bowler think, whether it's stepping across to the wide line or giving myself a ridiculous amount of room. At the end of the day, it's also a lot of mind games involved, and understanding that once the ball is released, the power is the side that I do possess. So some guys are definitely going to say a lot more innovative and better at it than I am, but I try to mix the two together. But power is definitely the side that I have to turn to the most.
And then, believe it or not, we're both from East London.
Oh, how good.
Yeah.
Nice to see a fellow countryman.
When last have you been back there?
Say again, sorry?
When last have you been back there?
I've never actually been back home. My brother went once, I think when he was probably about 16, but I've never had the opportunity to go back. I thought at some stage I was going to have a cricket tour over there, but it just hasn't happened yet. And I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to go there. And, I haven't seen my extended family over there since I moved when I was 5. So I've seen them when they come over to New Zealand, but I've never actually been back, and I'm really excited to go at some stage.
Just at the back in the corner.
Glenn, well better, mate. Just a word on Trent Bolt and his 4 wickets today. What does he bring to the team? How important is he to your success in this tournament?
He brings a phenomenal amount of energy, I'll tell you that. And his bowling skills have come so far. And the experience and the years that he's played, whether it's at the IPL or for international levels, and anywhere around the world, he brings so much skill, so much temperament. He seems to know what the batter's going to do before he's even bowled it. And he's got so many deliveries under his belt that when they all come together and things go right, things like 4 for 13 happen. And it's great to see. And he leads our seam attack. Both him and Southee lead it with, it's pretty hard to find two guys that work well together like they do. And then obviously we've got Lockie as a bit of firepower there as well.
And just quickly, we've seen some footage of Trent Bolt batting in the nets and commentating. It's been good to watch. What are the chances of him coming up as a pinch hitter in the tournament?
I know he did it for Rajasthan a little bit, but I don't think he would actually enjoy that as much as you think he does. He very much enjoys the nets, and my goodness, he's great fun to watch. And even when he comes out in the game, it's absolutely brilliant. But I don't think with the lineup that we've got, we'll see him pinch hitting anytime soon.
Glenn, just to go back to the sprinting start, if I may. Set Spur at the moment, but have you seen someone do that before that you got the idea from, or was it just in your head then? And do you think we might, I mean, T20 cricket is so much about innovation. Do you sort of think in a year's time we might see a lot more people doing it after what you did tonight?
That's a very good question. To be fair, the real reason I did it was the position that I was getting into. If I had my bat behind the crease, I thought it was actually slower to turn and accelerate off. So hence the reason having my foot inside the crease and going from there. Who knows? Maybe some people will use it. Maybe some people won't. Obviously, the extension of the bat being in the crease gives you another extra foot or two. But at the end of the day, I've got little arms. So my speed is probably going to get me a little bit further than my reach is.
And one more, obviously, it's two from two with a washout, but put you guys in a pretty good spot as far as the back half of this group goes. How important or how much momentum do you feel like you've got out of these two big wins? And how much does that mean in T20 cricket, which obviously is a game that can turn pretty quickly?
I think momentum in tournaments like this is absolutely crucial, but at the end of the day, we try to bring it to one ball at a time and trying to stick to one situation and win that situation. And having that process-driven focus allows us to go through one game at a time, because every team in this competition has the ability to rock over another. And for us, we're treating every game with that respect and trying to do the best that we can with any given situation and whatever pitch we're showing up with, or whether the weather plays a part in it as well.
Okay, we'll just take a couple of questions online. I think we've got Andrew Vorman from Stuff in New Zealand.
Hey Glenn, congratulations. Bit of a running commentary from yourself at times on the stump mic with your misses and stuff like that. Nothing dodgy, don't worry. But yeah, is that part of your sort of process, or is that something that you need to sort of cut down on, like, expressing that frustration when you miss the slower balls and things like that?
At the end of the day, it is an entertainment product. I do know there's stump mics there. So at the end of the day, for me, it's about having as much fun as possible and showing the sort of emotion that I'm feeling at the time. And sometimes it's for good and sometimes it's for bad, and hopefully more good than bad. But I guess for me, it's about enjoying the game as much as possible. And if I'm letting out the emotion, especially when I'm enjoying it, it's such a failure sport. If there's things that we can enjoy in the little moments and the times that we're out there, we're in front of 15,000 people, we may as well enjoy it and have fun.
Is that something you've sort of come to appreciate, I mean, maybe compared to when you first came into international cricket, that you're a pretty expressive, emotional guy, you can sort of ride that wave rather than worrying about it?
Yeah, I think I understand that my mental process allows that riding of the wave to come in and then go, to then stick to the game plan, start the process again, and move forward with one ball at a time and trying to make each individual ball a win for me. So, and with the process that I've got at the moment, it's allowing me to have more wins, whether it's the right shot or the wrong shot. Sometimes you can get away with playing the wrong shot, but to understand for myself that there's things that I can win at that don't necessarily reflect in runs, wickets, or catches, then the game becomes a little bit more enjoyable. And I've definitely noticed that I've had a lot more fun out there because there's more things that I'm succeeding at.
No, cool. Thank you.
Okay, and last one, Umesh from Cricket Tracker.
Thank you. So Glenn, my question is that when you came in the middle, the top order was failed and 3 batsmen went back to the pavilion without touching the double digit. So what was your mindset at the moment when you came in the middle and scoring a brilliant 100 after following a catch drop? So what was your mindset in the starting when you started your batting?
While Kane was still out there, or once Daryl arrived?
No, when top order failed drastically, when 3 batsmen went back without touching the double digit. So what was your mindset at the moment?
I guess while Kane was out there, we're still very much understanding that we do need to be aggressive. But obviously once we lost 3 in the power play, the the mindset changed to the intent and the presence being shown through the running between the wickets. But for us, neither of myself or Daryl are players that are going to back down from a challenge. So, and Daryl believes he's made for situations like this, and he does it every time and time again. So, having him there to be able to create that belief in myself as well, to understand that for us, intent looks different at one stage of the innings to another, and to be clear out there. We try to talk about communication as much as possible in the side, and the communication that both myself and him had about the intent of the running between the wickets was, I think, crucial to that patch to get us through to the 13, 14 over mark before we were able to launch.
All right. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you, Glenn.
so much. Good luck for the next match.
You're all good, Glenn. Thank you.
Thanks very much, everyone. We will be doing mix zone following this. So if you'd like to follow me, I'll take you in.
Yeah, we're good. Oh.
Oh.
Record.